So, Peter, what are the details of this?
Yes, this investigation has really become very widespread indeed. The size and scope has increased with that news late last night that Hampshire police have begun an investigation into allegations against the former Prime Minister, Sir Edward Heath. Now, those allegations have been made to numerous police forces, including Wiltshire Police, who say a number of people have contacted them about the former Prime Minister. Well, Richard, the 10th and 11th victims of the Shoreham air disaster have been named. Richard Smith was 26 and he was on a cycling trip with his friend Dylan Archer, who was 42 and a father of two. The two men have had tributes paid to them by their family, and we've got a bit more detail about another victim, Mark Trussler. He was 54 and a father of six.
Peter Cardwell joins us from Westminster. Good morning, Peter. The opposition to these measures just doesn't seem to go away.
That's right, and this is fast becoming a very difficult issue for David Cameron, possibly one of the most difficult of his entire premiership. George Osborne, the Chancellor, has thought about that very high welfare bill which he says he wants to get down. What he perhaps hasn't thought about is the criticism from his own party, including Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London, and those at the sharp end who we've been speaking to. Vicky's a single mum and her salary of £8,000 a year just about covers the bills, childcare and food. She relies heavily on £247 a week of tax credits, which more than doubles her income. But the proposed cuts could mean she'll lose more than £300 a year.
Rather than go after people that aren't paying taxes at the top end of society, they're taking money from people who need it and they're blaming us for being in this situation.
Officials from across Whitehall are meeting to establish the facts, and we've heard from the Foreign Office as well. They're aware of reports. They say they're urgently working to establish what has happened, and a big part of what they'll be doing is trying to establish whether there were any British people on board and any support they can give to the families either here or around the world. There's a lot of speculation here in Westminster, but here's what we know for sure. David Jones, the Welsh Secretary, he's been sacked. Ken Clarke, the Minister without portfolio, has decided to resign. He's been a colossus on the British political stage, an MP for 44 years. He served as a cabinet minister in both the Thatcher and Major governments. It's a huge and ambitious project which shows not just the value of police and military firepower, but of human intelligence too. The government is toughening the law against internet trolls, raising the maximum sentence from 6 months to 2 years. Just last week, remarks by Twitter's chief executive emerged. He wrote, "We suck at dealing with abuse and trolls." A decade and a half on, Omagh is still a town which is hurting. The 29 people who were killed that day included 3 generations of one family and Spanish exchange students. 15 of those killed were under the age of 21. And still today, hundreds of people bear the physical and mental scars of what happened that busy Saturday afternoon in the height of summer. Michael Gallagher is one of them. His son Aidan, who was 21, was killed that day. Among many other people, Michael has never given up the fight for justice. What are your thoughts of Aidan this morning?
Well, actually, I dreamt about him last night. It's you just wonder why you're there, why you were not allowed to grieve.
And increasing numbers are playing computer games, with over half of boys now playing them for more than 2 hours every night. For girls, that figure is nearly 1 in 5. It's when children spend more than 4 hours in front of one of these that the real damage is done, according to the report. And all of this is having a detrimental effect on their mental health. The Murray Stopes Clinic says it has already had significant interest from people wanting to use its services. But pro-life protesters here said they'll do everything in their power, including taking legal action, to close it down. Peter Cardwell, UTV Live, Belfast. So it appears late last night at number 15, a petrol bomb was thrown. It went through the window and we've seen the damage there. The perpetrator then apparently came down the road through another petrol bomb here at number 19. It failed to go through the window, but we can see the smoke damage there. And look at this car outside number 19. The tyres, front and back, were slashed and police are now investigating. Welcome back to UTV Live tonight and good evening from Stormont. Well, the horsemeat controversy continued to dominate proceedings here on the Hill, but also on the menu was discussion about where you live dictating how long you live. Of course you fell in love with your husband so quickly. I wonder how much
Are you proposing to me?
Well,
18
what would you say?
years,
What would you say?
I'm still very happy. What would I say? Publicly, well, if you ask me privately, probably be differently. Yeah. Anyway.
I think you could probably do better.
No, well, you might be able to do better. We're both wearing navy, though.
That's
so.
it. That's it. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch about the proposal.
Okay, do. Yes, I'll give you my number.
We're going to come back.